Hello and welcome to the Stateside Soccer Show. My name is Jordan. With me, as always, is Logan. How are you today, Logan?
Oh, Jordan, I'm doing well. I can't believe it's over. It's been a go. It's been a go, but we have crowned a new champion of MLS soccer, and every time I get to this point in the year, I feel very reflective on just
Mm.
the year that we had together, Jordan. Just the memories, So, but a very reflective time, but exciting, and but yeah, no, I'm doing all right. It's Monday, as good as we can get. We always record on Monday. Like
Yeah,
it
we
always
just
feels
hate
like.
ourselves, so we
I yeah,
record on Monday.
yeah. How are you feeling? How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. It was a very busy weekend, but we are now, especially like work is starting to slow down a bit now, so we're
Yeah.
getting there. We're getting there. This will be episode 262, I think, and last MLS Cup was 208. So we did almost 60 episodes in the year to get back to this point. We'll do our usual, we'll take our time off, that we will probably take a few weeks off for the holidays and come back after New Year after this episode, and then we'll start kind of ramping up to God, our previews already. And I guess like CONCACAF Nations League and the Club World Cup is happening. Um, so we have that stuff coming up, but first we will, take our breaks. Everybody can celebrate the holidays, whatever holiday you celebrate during this time, and then we'll come back and be revitalized, I think, and get back into it. It's a long grind for us too. I mean, I know the players are exhausted, but I feel like we're more exhausted than the players.
Yeah, I feel like.
I tore my ACL just sitting here.
Right. I feel like there's no attention paid to the podcasters. We never get credit. The fans always get credit, and while we are fans, we also, I think, deserve some kind of individual praise.
Yeah, we're just
Some
gonna
kind of.
pat our this the rest of this episode will be us patting ourselves on our back.
Right. And if you would like to send us emails about, how great it was to have us around, that, it was a grind, but we made it, Jordan. It's a long season. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon. All those cliche things that we always say, we're ready for another season. We're looking forward to 2025. While 2024 was good, we can always improve and get better. Maybe some new additions. But that'll come later in our contract talks.
Yeah,
If Logjam Media will have Jordan and I back, we're ready to do this
better.
again.
We're the owners. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm ready
Uh,
to get into it.
there was a half day trade window today, so we're actually going to talk this stuff too, as well as guess who was the MVP? Lionel
Uh,
Messi.
oh, I'm shocked.
Kind of
I
like
am
we thought would
floored.
happen, huh?
Right,
Not at the
right.
beginning of the season, but
Yeah.
we did make the case for it. I know some people think maybe he missed too much time, but he came back and still contributed, um, and broke, like records on how many goals he contributed to and in how many games and all of that kind of stuff. So, um, deserved, I would say. I think that shocked some people. The players, I think, overwhelmingly voted for Messi. It was the media that it was a little closer to Chucho, which means we would have been correct. We would have been correct, but we're not correct. Um, and then we had some trades that went down. Tom Boger and all of them have been tweeting. The Revs trade, that we talked about last week, is now official, with San Jose. That's official now. The Philadelphia Union traded all of their draft picks, all of them, for the next 3 seasons to the Colorado Rapids, um, in exchange for 350K GAM. That's 8 picks over 3 years.
Yeah, that's
Um,
fun. I love
I
that tweet.
wasn't a surprise that we traded our picks, but I think it was a surprise for me and for a few people here, actually, that it was for the next 3 years. Um, One, I think that might be a mistake. unless if for some reason they see the value of the draft going down even further, that they felt like this would be the best time to cash in on all of those picks. But I just felt like, you know, getting rid of them all in one go, I think was a little rough. I have actually, like, a friend of the show, Todd Lewis, who does the Free Kick, the Philadelphia Union fan podcast. He's a reporter for the Union. He is also from Harford County, Harco. He put out a really good tweet. I'm gonna read some of it here. He said, "Just some thoughts on the Union trading away their draft picks for the next 3 seasons. I know Ernst Tanner trading away picks is nothing new, but it's downright disrespectful to give up the process for the next 3 seasons when there's still quality coming out of college. When you look at the rosters of both teams that just played an MLS Cup on Saturday, the Galaxy and the Red Bulls, there were a total of 13 players between the two sides who played college soccer. 5 of those 13 started in the final, and they were John McCarthy, John Nelson, Peter Stroud, Sean Nealis, and Dylan Nealis. You even had a former college player, Sean Nealis, who had scored. John McCarthy is a 2-time MLS Cup winner, and he's the reason your team lost an MLS Cup to LAFC 2 years ago. Jack Elliott scored twice in that final against LAFC. Do we need to talk about the beatdown that the Crew gave your team 3 times this year? That's a team with 9 college players on their roster. I get that Ernst Tanner trusts his academy developed players better than the college game, but I'd argue that some of the college kids could contribute faster to the first team than some of the upcoming academy players." Um, and I agree with him like wholeheartedly on that. I also think it's kind of sucks that it's for the next 3 years because guess what? Curtin gets fired. If we suck this year, does Tanner get fired? And if so, that means the incoming GM has no draft picks to work with. Just done. Right. And look, yes, obviously the draft is becoming less and less important in the league. We know that. But as Todd pointed out, there were still so many players that come from there. And here's the thing, too. While we have academy players that do come in and have grown into roles, it takes a long time. It takes a long time. The college players can probably hit the ground a little faster when you're looking at somebody like Kevin Sullivan, who's 14, but hasn't had one because of rules and regulations, I guess, but he can't really play that many games for us. Okay, but we signed him. He's taken up a roster spot, you know? Then there's players like Chris Donovan, who is a homegrown, right? And he would sometimes feature more than he probably should have with his goal conversion rate. And it's like maybe there would have been a better pick out there, but we're relying too much on the academy. And guess what? The draft is almost just another version of that, except for you didn't develop them. You can just go pick out like the best college player, and guess what? They might be able to contribute right away. Jordan Morris was a college soccer player. He didn't. I don't think he went through the draft though. I forget how he came out. I think he was able to be a homegrown for them, but he played for Stanford. So I mean, he's again, we're looking at quality players who have played in college. Darlington Nagbe is a college player, and he is a staple of the best MLS teams that win trophy after trophy after trophy. Our own team, Jack Elliott, Andre Blake. These are huge players for the Union. But yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on it. I don't want to spend too much time on it, but it's just like for 3 years, I could see trading him away again this year, but it's tough.
Yeah, I mean, like I understand to an extent. Like if you look at like I'm now looking at the draft from last season. And I think we've become so Americanized in the way that we think about sports that soccer is very difficult for I think US, and I'm not saying that we don't know anything and you people don't know anything and that we're better and we know stuff, but I feel like even myself, there's a learning curve
Mhm.
with soccer in general. And I think I figured that out when I first started watching soccer. So like if you're a new fan to I would say an American iteration of football, like MLS, that it's gonna take a bit. We don't really have the traditional academies like England would, where these kids are playing 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, all the way up until they're adults, and then shuffling into more of a second team and then into the first team. Like, there is so much there where, I mean, these kids go to school with these school or with these teams and clubs. Like, they have teachers and they have, there's certain things that they put into place where some of these kids go to prep schools in England where their whole team's there and they travel together, but they take time off together. They're being taught, they're being tutored, like on the road at 9 years old. Like, we don't really have that in the US. We have travel ball, which has always been a very interesting and very divisive thing because of, what it does as far as talent level. And then there's also this really weird focus of one sport athletes, and there's this big question whether kids should be playing competitive sports at such a young age because of development issues. So, I think that all factors in, Jordan. I think you're right in the fact that you're going to find somebody in that draft, at least one, over the next 3 years that's going to make the first team roster at some point. The Orlando City, for instance, drafted and got very lucky with a player. I don't know if this is lucky. Like, Duncan McGuire, I think's 23, 22, 23. Like, he's an older college player, and he was much more developed and he looks older. He's got the physicality of an older player too, and that helped him. But if you go down this list, Jordan, like, none of these draft picks featured much. Like Charlotte with Aguimang, he featured quite often for them. But I'm looking at the rest of the list. I don't recognize any of the names from any of the teams, so I'm assuming none of them really had any kind of impact at all. I mean, most of them didn't even see a first team feature, and they oftentimes get loaned out. In fact, Orlando City just cut a couple of their draft picks from last year. So again, I think this is tough, right? Like, the union, I get it, and but I will say, Jordan, in your instance, I did find it very strange because while I get the union have their academy, I find it very strange that they don't look at college to develop young players because the union have always been really good at developing players. Like, that's what kind of shocked me about it. Like, okay, I get 1 year you emptied out the super draft for more money so you can sign an international player because you're going to need more senior players. But, like, to do it 3 straight years, I mean, I guess they could go out and get one if they really wanted to go get a draft pick. But yeah, it is interesting. But I think, to sum up what I was saying, I don't think we're there yet where the draft is impacting the sport like you would have in NFL and NBA and even Major League Baseball at this point. Like, MLS just isn't quite there yet, but I think that's because the college game hadn't quite gotten there yet. But I think we're starting to see that shift. Like, it's such a cool time we get to live in, Jordan, because I feel like we're in like the this sounds weird, but we're in the infancy of American soccer and the system that we've built. I mean, what, MLS is only 20, what is it, 26 years old, 77 years old, something like that?
No, it's almost 30.
Are we
So
30?
this
Okay. I
was
couldn't remember which milestone we were on.
it was 96. So this is 2024.
Okay. So 28.
28 years.
So again, I don't know.
Well,
Like,
actually, I
I
would say
think,
the draft was more important in the past than it is ever going to be. So I wouldn't say like we're not at that level. It's just that with we used to never have academies. So really the only way to get players were the draft. And
and you weren't getting players from other leagues at
right,
this
not
rate.
like not the big names that we're getting now, of course. Or the young players that
I was
we're
gonna say,
getting
even to
now.
fill the teams, like, we're now it's now like it's starting to get like South America's here and we're catching up to South America to where we're getting very young players that are developing here and heading elsewhere. So
Okay, let's talk about San Diego. They're coming in next year. They have acquired Colombian forward Tomas Angel. That's Juan Pablo Angel's son. That's how old I feel as I remember Juan Pablo Angel playing for the Red
yeah.
Bulls. um,
Can you believe we got into that age though? Like, it's happening in
yeah.
every sport now.
Yep.
Like,
Harry
there's
Sheffield Jr. and
yeah, Vladdy Guerrero,
Vlad
Chef,
Guerrero Jr.
right?
Yeah.
You got Frank Gore's son, Marvin Harrison's son in football. Like,
Yeah.
it's wild. It is absolutely crazy. Craig
I hate it.
Biggio. Yeah.
Thanks, I hate it. Yep. But yeah, not much about Tomas Angel. I guess good deal for both sides. I would say San Diego gets a player that they can see what he's made of. LAFC was clearly not going to really feature him because they've been going out and buying the big forwards.
Mm.
So probably just a good move. And then your team, Logan, Orlando City and Palmeiras from South America, right?
Mhm.
They have agreed to a deal with Facundo Torres.
Mhm. Yeah, that's that was gonna happen eventually. They're gonna get a good return for it. He's been instrumental in what they've done the last couple of years, especially this year. I mean, there's been times where he's not been as good, but then all of a sudden he ramps up, and that's the reason why Orlando goes as far as they do. They soar because he's there. I'm really interested to see what happens now. That'll free up a DP spot. That'll free up a lot of money for Orlando City, and the Wolves seem to be not afraid of spending money. So um, I'm excited, but sad. He's such a good player, but I think he is very not very. I think he's replaceable. I think that he is somebody that, while instrumental to the team, it's kind of one of those growth things that you knew was eventually going to happen.
Yeah. A loss though, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, they'll have to make up for a lot of goal contributions, but with that comes some excitement.
And then I think there was just some little trades that we don't really have to get into too much here. But yeah, those were the main ones. Let's talk about the MLS Cup Final because it was two original '96 teams: Red Bulls and LA Galaxy. LA Galaxy trying to get back to the heights that they have last reached 10 years ago to the day on Saturday, while Red Bulls trying to etch their name into the trophy for the first time. Obviously, if you're listening to this, you probably know who won. LA Galaxy are champions again for their record sixth time. I mean, really, it was a record with five, but they're extending their own record here with six MLS Cups. Nobody else has really come close. DC is at four, but the last one they've won, I believe, was '04. So DC, not in the new era of MLS Cups, have won any. So, um, look, some of us predicted them to finish last in the West. Some of us did not. But they're here. They won it without Ricky Puig. It looked like they were going to blow them away. Two goals early in the game, like 9 minutes in, is when Paintsil scores. A couple minutes later is when Joveljic, I believe it was, that scored, make it 2-0. Both of them going to hold up the Ricky Puig jersey. I was wondering what Paintsil was so upset about. I was like, is it offside? Like, what is he like yelling about? But he goes and asks them for the jersey so he could hold up Ricky Puig's jersey. Nice touch. Seemed like everybody wanted to win it for Ricky. Um, my friend and I always go over to my friend David's house for these finals, and we were watching it, and I was like, so what happens like if it gets out of hand? Like 4 goals, and like the last 3 people have held up the jersey. Do you if you're the fourth person scoring, do you still go over and be like, yeah, I guess I'll hold up his jersey too? Or is it a certain point where you're like, do you not want to be that guy that's like, no, I'm not holding up his jersey?
I think at that point you run over and grab like his boot and hold his boot up, like this is his boot, like
Just more and
um,
more clothes each time. You're
yeah,
like, these are his
just
shorts.
but you're that is I didn't think of that because yeah,
Because
I
I
mean
think,
I
like, let's
guess
say I score the fifth goal and everybody else has done it. It's like I feel like I have to. It could be kind of
it'd
like
be
do I
overkill
want to be
though,
the guy
right?
that didn't seem like a team player holding up his jersey?
Right. And you know what's really sad and because in baseball, the only reason why a jersey sits where it does, like in the dugout, is usually when somebody passes. So just like that's just I don't know. It felt very morbid at times, but I mean he's there, so it's like oh he's fine, he's not dead. But if a casual was watching that, they were probably like, oh my gosh, did somebody die? Like, and then they show this guy's cheering in the stands. They're like, that fan's all dressed nicely. It looks like he's going to a funeral.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. He came right from the funeral in his suit.
supposed to be his brother. So I don't know. Like in context, you would get it, and I guess not many people are stumbling on it because it was MLS or it was
It was on
Apple TV.
Fox too. It was on
Was it
Fox.
really?
Yep.
Ah, I
Yep.
watched it on Apple.
Me too.
You must not be okay. I was gonna say, Jordan, you must not be a real fan of this sport if you're watching it on Fox Sports.
You must not be a
Um,
real fan if you didn't know it was on Fox.
or as you would say, Big Fox.
Big Fox. It was on Big
But
Fox.
it was on Big Fox. But yeah, no, yeah. But man, Jordan, you were right. All the legends came out for this game. I
Yeah,
mean, Robbie
Donovan.
Keane was there.
Donovan
Donovan
even
was
wore
there.
the Ricky
Right,
Pooch jersey. He's out
right.
there rocking it.
Obviously, Sasha and Bradley Wright Phillips were there. Like
Mhm.
this was like it was a parade of people. Did you see the? Sorry to get so off topic. Did you see the Robbie Keane interview when he was at the Apple desk?
I didn't see his interview. I saw him bring out the trophy.
Yeah,
Um, and I was like, wow, I am now at the point where I remember Robbie Keane playing. It's been 10 years
yeah.
and he's holding this trophy, walking it out there.
So that was cool to have him do that, but to have also Landon Donovan and Bradley Wright Phillips carry it out at the beginning with the gloves on and
Yeah,
like
because Bradley Wright Phillips was a huge player for the Red
right.
Bulls.
So
Collection played for both.
yeah. So and that's what they said. They go, it's just a long list of guys that have played with both teams because they were the teams you wanted to play for. But it was interesting. They interviewed Robbie Keane, and Robbie Keane, I think Sasha asked him, "Do you have any interest in coaching?" And he goes, "Yeah, absolutely." That he goes, "It's I don't want this to make it so much about me, um, but then he went on to say that he's gotten interest from Europe, obviously, but he said he's also gotten a lot of interest from MLS teams that they've had conversations about it, and he'd like to step in and coach, but um, sounds like he's going to coach Jordan, and it'd be really cool if they could somehow figure out a way. But I just don't know if the only job that I think he'd have taken in MLS was with the Galaxy, and I don't think Greg's going anywhere. So, um, but I thought that was cool that Robbie Keane they put him right on the spot. They go, any interest in coaching? And he was like, I don't think he was expecting it because he kind of was like, whoa, man, that hot question here. But yeah, I mean, I'm getting interest. So but Jordan, I mean, as far as LA Galaxy players, I mean, obviously Landon Donovan's going to be number one for you. But like number two, who would you kind of put up there for guys that you liked watching from the Galaxy?
I
And then how
I
would
think a
you
lot of
put?
people would say Beckham just for
Yeah,
what he changed to the league, but I mean Robbie
right.
Keane is up there. I mean those three won like 3 MLS Cups. Keane may have only been here for 2, but but they were just electric. They won like 2 in a row against the Dynamo. Um, It was funny. At the end of the game, they had said that Greg Vanney was the 7th coach to win multiple MLS Cups. And off the top of my head, I was able to name 5 of the 7. I felt pretty damn good about that. Um, I had missed 2 names. Frankie Allop is one of the ones I had missed, and I forget who else I had missed. So I forgot him again, I guess. But I nailed all the other ones. And what great name for Greg Vanney to do that. He didn't get a chance to do it as a player. I think he lost 3 finals with the Galaxy as a player and gets to bring them back to life, right? This was a team that, look, you were so down on them, you put them on the last. I make jokes about it, but like I can
Yeah,
see why you would. Like when Greg Vanney came over, and I felt like I bought in really early to it, and it took a bit for them to get going under Greg Vanney. Might be because of the Chris Klein situation. We don't know, but it's
right.
like as soon as Klein's out the door, it's like boom, here we are. We won.
That's a
Um,
damning thing to his resume. It's like, "Oh, no, we don't
he
want
came
that."
in. I think he came in after 2014 too. So it was like that whole tenure.
Like, how do you
Um,
explain that to somebody? Like, he's gotta go overseas and hope they can't read resumes, like, he's gotta go somewhere where he's like, "Can you read in English?" And they're like, "No," and he's like, "Good, I'll apply for your job."
Galaxy, you know them.
Good, good.
I was
No?
a part of
You can't call them? Okay, good. Yep,
that.
good.
So, um, but I believed in Vanny. He took that Toronto team to 3 MLS Cup Finals. He faced Brian Smetzer all 3 times and won one of them. All right, and he should have won 2016 as well. But Stefan Fry stood on his head
Yeah.
and played a hell of a game where Sounders didn't have a shot on goal that whole final and won it in penalties. So, I'm glad to see Greg Vanny getting some much needed love with that. They went out there and won it for Ricky. Um, and at 2-0, it seemed like it was going to be a blowout. But Red Bulls, to their credit, came back in the 28th minute, scored the goal. And boy, Logan, they had tons of chances to
Yeah,
equalize. And, they might be a really big threat next year, I think, because look, this is the coach's first year with them as well. If
yeah.
he stays and they try to, make some, if they make some key signings, bring over some players that can help put them over the edge, I could see Red Bull being an actual threat in the East next year, because they looked very dangerous in this final.
Yeah, it makes me wonder, right? Because I mean, we've talked about this at length and extensively this year. There were 4 teams in the Eastern Conference that were playing well at the end of the year. Well, I would even say 3 because Cincinnati wasn't playing very well. But like Jordan, the East is up for grabs if you're not named Inter Miami. So like they've gotten to this point now, right? Where I mean, they really did. They had a lot of good chances. I thought they looked pretty good on the road after going 2-0 down, Jordan. Like you texted me and was like, this is gonna be a blowout. I was like, yeah, this is gonna get ugly. Because I was like, the Galaxy, Jordan, they scored the most goals in postseason history. They had 18 goals. In total for the postseason. Now, granted, they played I think 2 more games than uh, one more game than I think the team that was in behind these 15 goals. But they had beat that record. And it might have been the Red Bull that they beat or Seattle. I can't remember. But yeah, no, they're now the top. They hold the record for 18 goals in a postseason. But I thought the Galaxy were going to smash in the Red Bull, but Red Bulls fought
Yeah.
back. Had a lot of chances. They're dangerous. Like they've got a sneaky team. Carnell, like one mistake that he's
Yeah.
made, he doesn't
The
make
first goal.
mistakes, right?
I mean, that was it. He should have had it. It goes underneath of him, and we're talking about a totally different game because that even set the stage for Galaxy to get the second goal, as well. Doesn't mean everything changes, but
No.
it is like if he was playing at the level he did in the previous rounds, who knows how
Mhm.
this game goes.
And he doesn't get enough credit for it, but he's probably the top goalkeeper, if not the top goalkeeper, at least top 3. Like he's really good,
It's really tough
and
to
has
say.
been.
What I will say is this was a league that used to get crapped on for their goalkeepers, but
Yeah, they've gotten a lot
oh
better.
my god, the goalkeepers are so good in this league now. I mean,
I mean, just think about all the
Stephen
goalkeepers,
Fry, Andre
right?
Blake, Coronel,
Galese,
right?
you've got
Galese,
McCarthy's played pretty well.
McCarthy, two-time
Stuver,
MLS Cup champ.
Dane Sinclair. Like, I mean, you just go up and down the
Charlotte's
list. We'll
goalkeeper,
miss somebody. Yeah,
right?
we'll miss some. Yeah,
He won
Galena, right?
goalkeeper of the year.
Yeah. So we'll miss people, but um, yeah, like you can go up and down the teams and be like, they're good, they're good, they're good. Like Sean Johnson's a shadow of himself, but he was good. Like it just goes on and on. List goes on and on. But
Guzan, yeah.
yeah, Busan. Like you just forget calendar. Like like it just we've got unbelievable goalkeepers. I think that's been a thing for the US though too. Like they're good at finding coaches, and I'm
Schulte.
pretty sure that the goalkeepers here are just gonna be phenomenal all the time now. But yeah, like I felt like Jordan, like you're right. I think Sandro Schwartz in another year, if I'm begging you, Red Bull, to just spend like get some more talent in here. Like you're on the doorstep now. You've got Forsberg. Nealis has played really well. Lewis Morgan, Dante Van Zier. while he doesn't quite live up to what you'd expect, maybe you get something there that's a little bit better. Maybe John Tolkien stays around for a whole nother year. This defense is formidable. So I'm just hoping, Jordan, that they spend and get some talent in here to kind of fuse together with this pretty good defensive team, to get even more exciting in the attack. But yeah, I thought the Galaxy really, they handled the Red Bull trying to equalize really well, which isn't usually the Galaxy's thing. They don't really play good defense, so it was scary moments, but they got it done.
Yeah. Um, really good game. Like I said, when it was 2-0, you're like, okay, this might be like last. It felt very similar last year when LAFC was scored on 2-0 by the 38th minute. I think it was. It was like 35th, 38th minute, and Crew won that game, no problem afterwards. It was starting to feel like that, but thankfully Red Bull scored to make it interesting, and they were constantly threatening. And then Galaxy was almost putting in a third goal constantly. That actually was probably one of the best finals recently, because I think the one NYCFC one I remember being good because Portland was close to winning that, and then it was like I think one of the teams equalized late to push it to overtime, like push it to extra time, and then went to penalties, and NYCFC won. And I guess 2022 was a good one as well. That was LAFC and Union. So really, the only one that probably last year's wasn't great. So this, yeah, that's really the only one
Yeah,
I'm thinking of, I guess. But
but I mean, it was you were thinking of of the Philadelphia one not being very good, but that was because
oh,
the
not
outcome
good for
wasn't good,
me. But it was
right? Yeah, it was a great game. Yeah, it's a classic.
the shootout was not great though either. That
No,
was what
no, that's
Union did
true.
not step up to it. But
That's
the
true.
whole 120 minutes was great. I was so confident in LA winning when they went up 2-0. I started making the graphic to share.
As Jordan's sitting there like sweating in the second half as the
I'm
barrage
literally
of goals is
making the
just
graphic, and I'm like, "How's this look?" And then Red Bull scores, and I'm like, "I'm gonna make them score another goal before I actually make a Red Bull graphic, just in case."
yeah.
And yeah, never had to worry about it. If they made it 2-2, I would have made a Red Bull graphic as well, but didn't have to worry about that.
Can we check something real quick? Uh,
Sure.
well, actually, you can keep talking
That
because I
was
want to
LA
check.
Galaxy's 10th MLS Cup final, by the way. They won 6. That's a 60% win rate. That's great. Red Bulls are 0-2.
All right, I wanted to check. When was the last time that a home team lost? Oh, Providence Park.
Yeah, 2020. That was 21?
Yeah, but I was trying to see like the record. Yeah, like record's not good if you're not hosting it.
Yeah,
Oh
it's
man,
a big advantage,
it's
because the
brutal.
first I had to look this up too. The first time it was not at a neutral site again was the 2013, 2014.
Yep,
No, 2012
2012. Yeah,
Galaxy won it, and I think 2011 Galaxy won it. No, that was
you're
that was the
no, you're right.
BMO. That was the right or no?
No, you're right. 2011, 2012, Galaxy. 2013 was
SKC.
yes.
2014 LA Galaxy.
Are you looking at this?
No.
Oh, look at you, trivia guy. Who won in
2015
2015?
Portland Timbers.
How about 2016?
2016 uh Sounders.
Dang, 2017?
TFC.
Yeah. 2018,
Atlanta.
2019.
Oh shit, who was 2019? Um that was Sounders again?
Yeah,
Okay.
2020.
Oh, the COVID year. Who
Oh, you
won the
should know
COVID
this
year?
one.
That was Crew,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. 2021.
NYCFC,
And now you know 'em. That's
LAFC,
crazy. Okay. Now I'm just interested. Do you know all of them? Okay.
pretty close.
1996,
That's DC.
97,
DC.
98.
Fire.
Yeah. 99.
Is that Is that DC again?
Yeah, 2000.
Oh, 2000. I used to have these memorized.
I mean, so far you haven't gotten one wrong.
2000.
2000 might be tough. That's my hint. Because the name.
Because of the name?
Yeah. It's changed.
Oh, okay. Um, damn. Hold on. What names have changed?
Jordan's like, which? I mean, you pulled up the right conference.
Oh
And I'm not
boy.
talking by a lot. It changed. Well, it did change a lot.
Was it Sporting
Yeah. The
when
Wizards.
they were the Wizards? Okay.
20. Okay. You missed, well, kind of one. 2001.
Oh, 2001. I have to think about this because 04 is DC United.
Correct.
So 01 should be Quakes?
Yeah. 2020 or 2002.
Quakes? No. Uh damn. 02. 02, 02, 02. Hold on. So then we have 04 is DC, 06
Yeah.
and 07 is Houston.
Yeah.
10 is the Rapids.
Mm-hmm. So you're
Um,
missing 2002.
2003, 2005.
Yeah.
Oh, there's another Quakes in there,
There is.
but they're not 02. They
No.
would be 05,
No.
03.
Yeah.
03 is the Quakes.
It's
Damn.
funny because 02 and 05 are the same team that you missed.
Oh, 02 and 05. Who would that be? Two-time winner. Not many teams have won it twice. Not many teams have won it twice.
No, but they might have won it 6 times.
Oh, Galaxy. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. 2006 and 7 you got. 2008. No, 2009 you didn't get. Or you haven't guessed.
Oh, 9 is RSL.
Yes. 2011?
2011 is that was Galaxy, right?
Yeah.
11,
2012?
12. Yeah, Galaxy.
Yep.
Yeah.
2013?
That was SKC. Yeah, we
Okay.
got him.
Oh yeah, we got there.
We got
Okay. Look at you. You only missed one. That's well, 2. That's amazing though. Like that you can remember. Like I couldn't tell you MLB. Like I really couldn't. I couldn't tell
I
you.
can't tell you MLB either. I
I couldn't tell you
sometimes
that.
think another
Super
year
Bowl.
is another thing.
Yeah. NBA never. But like the fact that you've almost 30 years of teams that you knew, that's crazy. With especially with how many, well, I guess, I mean, it helps that DC United won a ton of them and so did the Galaxy and
Yeah,
Sounders,
it's
I
10 of
guess.
them right there. Yeah.
Right. Like that's a handful. So that was fun. I hope they all played along. Wow, they're probably all sitting in the car going, "Who was that year?" So
Or they know them all too, and they're like, you dumbass."
yeah.
Okay. Anything else about the final or anything?
No, I think it's just I mean, I did hear an interesting thing. This year, Jordan, the top 3 teams in possession in MLS, all 3 won trophies. So you had the Houston Dynamo, who led the league in possession. You had the Columbus Crew, and you had Inter Miami, sorry, not Inter Miami, the Galaxy, right? Yeah, Galaxy, not Miami. Miami was 4th. Jordan, the Red Bull, the
What
Red
did
Bull were
Dynamo win?
Dynamo won U.S. Open Cup.
That was this year?
I think so.
No,
That's why
no. No way. No way. No.
No.
LAFC won Open Cup.
Did they really?
Yeah.
No, that can't be right.
LAFC won the
2020, didn't
Open Cup. Yep. Houston won it the year before, right?
Yeah, maybe you're right. Is that true? Yeah, you're right.
Do I have to tell you all the Open Cup winners now?
Well,
The
no,
100
God,
years
no.
of that?
Yeah, Jordan, I'd like to hear every single one of them. But okay, so then whoever said that stat on
Was
did
wrong.
yeah, they were wrong. Taylor Twellman. You're wrong.
Inter Miami won, right? Because they won Supporter
Right.
Shield, but they
Yeah.
didn't have top possession, or they did.
No, fourth.
So,
Columbus Crew and the LA Galaxy. The Dynamo didn't
League's
win
Cup.
anything, right?
Yeah, yeah. Dynamo did not win that. No, Crew won
Okay,
the
that's
League's
weird.
Cup, right?
Yeah, so that stat
Um,
was wrong.
yeah.
Who is the stat person for Apple? Because it was said on the broadcast. That's why I was excited to bring it up. But I will say,
Yeah.
Jordan, if you do look at the top teams in MLS, you might figure something out. If you have more possession of the ball in this league, you're going to win a lot of games because
Yeah.
every single one of the top teams is hanging out up there except for one. And
By
that
the way,
would
I think I
be,
forgot to say '08's MLS Cup. That's Crew, by the way.
oh, yeah, you did. But again, very interesting. So that stat pointed to me at least to something interesting, even though it was wrong, is that, I mean, possession ball is really a thing in MLS. Because in other sports, or in other leagues, you can kind of get away with being kind of average in possession. But
Yeah. Well, that wraps up another season of Major League Soccer. There is an expansion draft on the 11th for San Diego. I guess if something earth shattering happens, we can record something. But I think most likely we'll catch up on all that stuff because that'll be part of building up for the previews. So I
mhm,
think we'll just kind of wait to cover the expansion draft um, until we start doing previews.
yeah,
We deserve a break.
it's a. I mean, not gonna lie to you, it's sometimes a drag. Like sometimes it's we're not always up for every single episode. There's episodes where we've had headaches or um, things going on in life, just in general. But we appreciate everybody sticking with us. Jordan, I think, is usually perfect on attendance, or if not, at least perfect, at least close to
Not
perfect.
perfect. No.
No, but
Close.
I did have to run it a couple times this year because of the baby.
Yeah.
Which I mean, I think in years past, I think you're the one that's run it every single time. But yeah, no, Jordan, this is always fun. We love the interaction. We grow every single year. We've got a tremendous growth on X, and unfortunately, that's kind of gone sideways. But we're on blue sky, so I think next year we can kind of focus on that. I know we do this every year. We're like, man, we just need to get more guests back on here. It's very difficult to get guests on a Monday because a lot of people record on Monday.
Yeah.
So I think that's a challenge that we've always run into when scheduling our guests. We'd love to have people on. So if you're interested in coming on, we would love to talk to you next year. And maybe we'll make that actually a focus next year and get more people on. But again, like we said, it's so difficult to schedule these on Monday, mostly because we do these at 6. Jordan and I can get home and get ready and get ready to go. But yeah, no, this was fun, Jordan. So I enjoyed it. I can't wait to see what next year's MLS season brings. We'll be back next year. We will be continued. So,
Yeah. And with the new team,
right.
San Diego.
What were your overall thoughts, Jordan, on the year?
Uh I think a deserving winner. I do. I think like I said, I felt like LA Galaxy were in the driver's seat for the Western Conference for so long. I
Mm-hmm.
really thought they would win it, and then it came down to one goal.
That's a good point.
And look, they had like the when the first goal went in, they had tied the highest amount of goals in a postseason, and then
Mm-hmm.
the second goal went in, they broke that record. Then so
Yeah.
record breaking in the playoffs. Greg Vanny, all these players that were just absolute class. I feel great about John McCarthy. I really like that he was able to get another one this time, not at the expense of the Union. But he's a former Union player,
Yeah.
So it was nice to
And a
see him.
journeyman. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
nice to see him get another win. Um, and that they won it for Ricky. It would have been devastating if he tears his ACL and then they end up losing because of that. So
Oh, and Marco Royce's first title, club title.
yeah,
That's wild to
yeah,
me. I guess I don't ever really think about that, but that's because Bayern Munich had owned the
and
Bundesliga.
Yoshida's too. I think it was Yoshida's first
Yes.
trophy.
Yep.
Um,
That's crazy to me.
yeah,
Like how storied their careers have been. I mean, I remember when Marco Reus was connected to like City, and he never left Dortmund, which
See,
is wild
he's
to
a
me.
player that I remember coming up, like being
Hmm.
everybody's like, this guy's the next guy,
Yep.
Marco Royce. And yeah, now he's near the tail end of his career. Again, he's
Right.
still very old, but
Yeah, when he's talking about being the veteran and not having the
I'm like,
health
no,
to
you're
really play.
still young. What
Like,
are you
no, dude.
talking about?
Yeah, wait, City, you're connected to Manchester City. How are you supposed to? Not anymore, man. Antoine Griezmann, that was funny. Twelman goes, Antoine Griezmann's got a private plane sitting at his front doorstep from LAFC because they're tired of the Galaxy celebrating already. I was like, that's pretty funny. So I think we're in for a really entertaining year next year, Jordan. I feel like even more players are going to show up at our doorstep over here. So sounds like KDB's interested. Sounds like Neymar's interested. Sounds like Antoine's interested. So
Yeah. Well, we'll
should be
see.
fun.
At Stateside Show on all of our social medias, statesideShow@gmail.com if you want to reach us there as well. Have a great rest of your holiday season, whichever holiday you celebrate. And we'll catch you in the new year when we start previewing the 2025 MLS season, the 29th season, right?
Oh yeah,
Of the league. Maybe the 30th. I think this is the 30th season.
no, because if it's
It'll be
96,
30 years in 1990 from 1996 in 2026, but I think it should be the 30th season.
oh, I guess, yeah,
Because I
I
remember
guess,
the unions was weird like that when it was
yeah,
like
I think it
10
might be.
years. It was like the 2019
Yeah,
season,
I
not
think
the
you might be right.
2020 season.
That sounds right.
All right. Well, that's about it. Have a great rest of your holiday season. We'll catch you next time.